The holidays were always a joyous time at the Betts household in Machesney Park. The family's 4 children, 21-year-old Debbie, 19-year-old Earl, 18-year-old Gary, and 16-year-old Louise, enjoyed their time together on Christmas, 1976.
At 16, you think you got the world by the tail, right? You know, heading out and doing things. And she is the youngest of 4, so of course carefree and fun-loving.
In 1976, Louise Betts did have the world by the tail. She was in her junior year at Harlem High School, where she played the clarinet and busied herself with typical teenage activities.
And ride your bicycles everywhere, wherever you wanted to, and you stayed out all, till your mom and dad called you in, out playing in the streets. And
Louise also spent a lot of time at the Meadow Mart Mall in Loves Park, a popular teen hangout at the time. There, she and her friends shopped, socialized, and talked about boys. Her mother dropped her off at the shopping center dozens of times, and Louise would always find her way home.
At two ends, there was a Piggly Wiggly and a Jewel, I believe it was. 2 grocery stores, and in between was the mall, all kinds of different little stores there.
Gary Betts did not know it at the time, but Christmas 1976 would be the last time he saw his younger sister. Betts returned to his Army base in Kentucky after the holidays, where several months later he received horrific news.
And the platoon sergeant coming up to me, and that's what he told me. They found Louise's body.
Louise's mother dropped her off at the Meadow Mart on September 27, 1977, expecting to see her later that night. But Louise never showed up.
And apparently she was going to hitchhike to one of her other friends' house.
But she did not make it there either. Initially treating Louise as a runaway, police had no clues as to where she may have gone. And as time passed, the likelihood of a safe return continued to wane.
And a mother knows, and Mom knew she wasn't. Something's wrong.
Days then turned to weeks and weeks to months. Then, on March 30th, 1978, the search for Louise Betts was over. A local farmer made a grisly discovery.
The farmer was going through his plowing his cornfield in Boone County, right out here.
Because Louise had been exposed to the elements for so long, the medical examiner was unable to pinpoint her exact cause of death. Then, a suspect with a violent history emerged with a chilling confession.
The horror she felt, how she fought back, and he strangled her, he jumped on her. She got up and ran, he chased her down, strangled her some more.
The matter-of-fact confession came from 23-year-old Curtis Brownell, a local man who detailed how he kidnapped Louise as she hitchhiked before he raped her and strangled her to death.
I then checked her pulse again. I listened to her heart on her chest. I left her on her back. I then got her purse out of the car and threw it in her direction.
Brownell said Louise could have been alive when he left her in the cornfield. He said after dumping her, he went to a local bar, had a few drinks, and put what he had just done out of his mind.
After 2 weeks, I didn't hear anything on the news, so I thought that everything was all right and that she didn't report it.
Brownell also took one of his own children to the cornfield after killing Louise.
I guess I didn't find her because she was more than 50 feet into the cornfield. Maybe I didn't look hard enough because I was afraid of what I might find. I went to work without any conscience.
Those close to the case say the most chilling thing about Curtis Brownell is that he appeared to be a regular person. He had a good job, a family, and was living an ordinary suburban life.
He was a real quiet neighbor, would do anything to help in the neighborhood. People, some of the local teenage girls in the neighborhood babysat for the family. And so it was just your average American Joe there, doing his thing.
And while he didn't prey on his babysitters, Curtis Brownell had other victims. In January 1978, he abducted a pregnant woman from a Rockford laundromat, raped her, and then ran her over with his car. The woman and her baby miraculously survived.
He just couldn't stop himself. He had to just keep doing it.
Wading through the pain of losing his baby sister, to who the press at the time was calling a sex slayer who's now serving 100 to 300 years in prison, has not been easy. Gary says he still experiences everything from anger to sadness and has even blamed himself.
All kinds of different scenarios come up in your mind. Not being with me, not being a good brother, or things. Just all kinds of things.
Gary says the horrible picture of how his sister met her fate nearly 50 years ago may never leave his mind. But he says he'll always remember Louise's smile and carefree innocence. But even that is tremendously hard.
The stress of this killed my mother at 56. And then Dad lasted a few more years, 6 more years, because once Mom died, he gave up.
Reporting for your home team, Jim Haggerty, Eyewitness News.